Morning, everybody. We will give it another minute and then make a start. We'll make a start. We have a lot to get through. So, Borada a croeso, good morning and welcome. Shiraki I gyd, how are you all? Ydw i'n dwi'n gweithio a Canolfan Gwasanaethau Cyhoeddus Digidol. So I'm Edwina and I work for the Centre for Digital Public Services. I head up the communications and engagement team, and I'll be chairing the session this morning. So our role at the CDPS is to support the public sector to design and deliver better public services. And these are public services that are based around the needs of those who use them. And part of that is knowledge sharing, highlighting good practice and learnings, which our webinar series is one way in which we do this. It's been absolutely great to partner with the Office for National Statistics for this webinar series, looking at the end-to-end journey for delivering a digital first census of 2021. Today's session is the final in a three-part series, and more on what we're going to cover in just a minute. So we've set this up as a Teams webinar, which means by default you should have joined on mute, but if this isn't the case, please do pop yourself on mute just to avoid any distractions for our lovely presenters. A slightly longer session than normal, as you can imagine, trying to cover something as complex as the census and 10 years in the making is quite hard to do. So we've done 3 sessions and 3 slightly longer sessions. So after the first presentation, we will be taking a short 5-minute comfort break, and then we'll be coming back for the second presentation and leaving time for plenty of questions and answers at the end, but we do aim to finish up on time at 11 o'clock. The session will be recorded, so if you do need to duck out for any reason, or if you think that the session would be of interest to your colleagues post-event, well, then the link will be shared with you as part of the series as well. Llynnos will be live tweeting the first half of this session, so diolch Llynnos. I have found, as I've been preparing for each of these webinar series, it's a really good resource to go back and just get a quick summary of what was discussed during the session. So you'll find us over on Twitter at CDPS_Gymru. We'd love your questions, and as I said, we're going to hopefully have plenty of time for them. So there's a questions and answers button at the top of your team screen. Please do pop any questions that you have in there as we go along, and there'll be an opportunity, as I said, to cover them off at the end. If you'd like to contribute on Gymraeg, we've got Alaw here who's on hand to translate, so you can pop your questions in whatever language you choose. We will be asking for some feedback at the end of the session. We won't be bombarding you with a survey at the end post-event. So we're going to be using a thing called Menti to get live feedback. If you've not used it before, we're just going to ask you to open a separate tab or to use your phone and go to Menti, which is MENTI.com, and we'll give you a code to enter there when we come to the feedback session at the end. So what have we covered so far, and what are we going to cover today? Well, in session 1, the team talked about how they designed and built the 2021 census. We got an insight into the benefits of a digital first approach, things like the ability to change content and wording, and also to add further instructions to help with completion. We also covered considerations for Welsh language and also accessibility. The team talked about using existing components in the build, such as address lookup, and they ran through the full user journey and all of the digital products that had to work together to ensure a good user experience. Excuse me. In the second session, the team covered how they collected and processed the data. They talked about the rehearsal in 2019 with 4 local authority areas to prepare for the big event of 2021. And they also talked about some learnings from that and how they iterated then for the actual census day. They talked about the modelling they carried out to ensure a data-led approach to inform their strategy. So that was which areas were likely to complete online versus the paper census. And one of the benefits from a processing point of view was that they were able to monitor responses in real time instead of waiting until after census day. So in 2021, for example, they didn't start processing the data until the beginning of June, where in 2021, it was the 21st of March. So They also talked about quality assuring the data, so making sure it was easier and quicker. And this data was available to the quality assurance team in real time as well, so another benefit. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of a snapshot into the first two sessions. It was a lot more detailed and there was a lot more covered. And as I said, both sessions were recorded, and we will circulate the links to the series as part of this series wrap up. So let's fast forward to today. The census has been designed and built, it's been distributed, the data has been collected and processed. So today's session is about how the team are bringing that data to life. We've got two fantastic speakers, and we're also going to get a demo of the public facing product as well. And we're going to hear a little bit about what next as well. So first of all, we've got Gerald Williams, who's head of Census 2021 Outputs Engagement. We'll hear from Gerald first, and then we hear from Ben Cooper, who's head of Transformation Statistical Engagement. So Gerald, I'm going to hand over to you, please. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch yn fawr, Edwina. Bore da pawb. I'm Gerald Williams from the Office for National Statistics. So today we're just going to look at how we've got to where we've got to with regards to the outputs, and then we're going to look at some of the products as Edwina talked about. So let's crack off. So let's cover what we're going to cover today. We're going to go for a general overview. We're going to look at what we've published, and then about the products that we're making available bilingually as well. And then, as Edwina suggested, we're going to put in a little demo. Hopefully it's going to be a live demo, so hopefully all the systems stay up and everything's okay. So I think, first of all, it's important to understand why we're doing this. And it's to make products for people to use to make informed decisions. So that's you, the users. And to make sure the cost and effort for taking a census is worthwhile, we need to present those results in a way that add value to users and people can use as well. So it's always good to kind of just reflect and remember. And then on that reflection as well, each time we move forward, it's important to briefly reflect on how we've got there. And we do that by understanding the user's needs. In line with the government general policy around digital services, we followed a user-centered design approach to achieve this. This involves understanding user needs, with a combination of research and product design, along with a consultation on the data needs, and thinking about those questions. Who are the users? What do they need? And how will they interact with the products that we provide? And then taking that information and developing those capabilities that are needed. So from that package of work, we've added in our legal policies and our technical capabilities that exist or would need to be developed in order to work out what we need to be done. We've then had some really useful sessions with users and stakeholders to get their steer on what's most important to them. And the main insight that we've gained from this is to have a single bilingual source of the truth for definitions and other metadata. And to fulfill this, we've created a census data dictionary, which is the link in the file there. I believe the slides are being circulated around afterwards, but this is all available on the ONS website as well. So to engage better with a range of users, we've developed products to suit their different needs. So we can see over here on the left, we've got a different personas. So ranging from our technical user to our more passive citizen. And then we've got our products ranging from our data to our commentary to our exploratory products, our interactive products, and our explanatory products. Now, that's not to say that a technical user won't want the explanatory products or a passive citizen doesn't want the data products, but it's just about the focus about that, how that design and how we've achieved those different products. So what we've released so far, let's go into the actual data. So if you remember back to spring last year, we released our first results, which was our rounded population figures. And then in the autumn, we started to produce our topic summaries, which is our univariate data. And we also re-released our unrounded first results population data as well. To go along with this release of the topic summaries, we provided a load of supporting information. And that included some quality and methodology information in our QMI reports. We also then produced our univariate data covering the 8 topics. And then to accompany these topics with that univariate data, we produced some statistical bulletins. Now, we worked really well with the Welsh Government with this, and wanting to provide these bilingually, we partnered up with them. So we provided PDF versions on the ONS website, and then the Welsh Government took those statistical bulletins and pulled out the information for Wales as well, and produced that on the Welsh Government's website as well. And then alongside all of the data, we then produce those interactive products. And this is to allow the users to really get the best out of that data in a way that they can kind of interact with that data in a different way, rather than just a good old Excel table. So moving on to what we've just released then in our multivariate data release. So under this, we have an umbrella of Census 2021 multivariate data. And we're calling it a blended offering because it's consisting of the creator custom data set, which we'll come on to later. But also we've got the pre-built data sets and analysis reports. So as we'll see later in the presentation, the creator custom data set is a tool that allows you to select population types and change coverage, add and remove the variables. Now, we can all do that in a pivot table, really, but what makes the tool different is that the statistical disclosure rules run automatically in the background, and it's designed to return as much data as possible. So where disclosure rules will likely suppress the data, these population bases are not included, and the tool will inform users of how they can improve their query to return the maximum amount of data by removing variables or changing classifications. And now to support that, then that's why we've done this blended offering. So we've got the pre-built data sets and we've got the analysis. Now, this is a giant leap forward from 2011 census, where if any part of a data set deemed disclosive, the whole data set wouldn't be published. So in summary, we're producing more data more quickly than any previous census at a greater level of granularity, allowing users to paint that rich picture for their area. So we're just going to have a quick video now. It's only a 30-second video. It's just going to quickly run through the created custom data set, but don't worry, we're going to hopefully go into a little bit of a deeper dive later in a demo, and we'll do a live demo on this. So let's just click this to start. Okay, so hope that got everyone's toes tapping. So just to kind of summarize that then, the created custom data set, you can add and remove the variables that we saw there in the video, select the classifications, change the area type. So, and then where statistical disclosure rules will likely suppress data in populations, they wouldn't be included. So this is where we've created the custom data set. and that data has already passed disclosure checks and includes data from the lowest possible non-disclosive geographies. So broadly, these pre-built multivariate data sets contain data relating to sexual orientation, gender identity, short-term residents, students, families, dependent children, HMOs. Then we'll move on to, I've made mention to our blended offering before. So just to kind of elaborate on that, an example of what our blended offering for ethnic group classification would be. So data in the 19 tick box categories will be available within the data custom data set, create a custom data set. This is the 19 tick box from the census form. So if the ethnic group detailed variable was included, this would impact the utility of the data regarding the groups with small populations. So to account for this, we're producing bespoke analysis and tables to produce accurate representation and interpretation for these more complex identities. So you can see it's a kind of a cross between 3 different areas that we're doing. Now we talk about our dissemination. So we've got various interactive products. Our most popular by far, I think it was up at 800,000 hits yesterday, is our census maps. I believe when this came out, it even made onto my TikTok stream, and it was all over social media because of the way people interact with this product. It's very easy to go in, select a variable that you want, and it shows you a great visualization of the area selected. You can zoom in or zoom out all of the entire country. So please, I do encourage you, if you haven't gone onto Census Map, please do go and have a look. We've also then got, though, to supplement this, a custom area profile builder. So this is where you can go in and select a particular area. So Cardiff, for instance, zoom in on your Cardiff and then select some variables, and it will give you that data and it will cross-reference it against a national figure as well. So it's a really useful tool. There also is build a custom area profile on that tool as well. So you can go and draw a polygon within that particular area, and that will use the best fit to an OAs to provide data for that particular area you're looking at. So that's particularly useful if you're looking at school catchment areas, for instance, that are non predefined statistical boundaries. We've then also got our change over time report. So this then looks at a particular area and looks how it's changed from the 2011 census as well, and how that area has changed. We've also then got some other really great products, our census quiz and some games that we had with our first release. We had a game where it was a cross between kind of Blockbusters and Play Your Cards Right. I think we were tracking across guess the higher or lower population. I think that was actually trending alongside Wordle at one point, but probably only for about a day. But I do encourage you to go on and have a look at all the interactive products and actually get that picture. The census maps as well, you can kind of clip out the information that you found and then export that out into any reports that you're doing. So next we're just going to have a look at a demo. So I'm just going to pull this over my other screen over. So if you go onto our census website, you'll be, well, if you go to the home, make it easier. So if you go to ons.gov website, go to the home, we look at Census 21 data and analysis. This takes you to our Census Hub page. We've got here the create a custom data set. So we click on that. And then you're presented with a population type that you first select. So we'll select all usual residents. And then we'll ask to select, we can change our area type. So we can go from regions or down to output areas. So we'll stay at local authorities. And then we can then look at what the definition is. We've got a little twisty there, so click on the area type and it tells you what the area type is. We've got our lower tier local authority, our coverage, just what that means. And then we can go in and add some variables. So we have two ways to add a variable here. We can search for a variable. So if we want to do age, for instance, so we just type in age and search. Now this is a fuzzy search, so it just looks for the characters AGE. So you can see our age at the top here, but also brings up Welsh language skills because of the AGE in language. But we'll go ahead and select our age category. And then if we want to browse for some other categories as well, we can say, well, we talked about ethnic groups earlier, so let's add in ethnic group as well. And then let's put in general health as well. So we're starting to build our categories here. Now, SDC is run in the background there. And what it's saying is this will return us 286 out of the 331 areas available. So they will give us a way that maybe we can improve that search quality as well and improve the data that we're returning. So we can select a larger area type, or we can select fewer categories, or we can even remove some of the variables in that. I think we're going to go in and change some categories. So what we'll do is we'll go down and we'll continue. And then we can see the categories here. So if we look at our ethnic group category, for instance, we've got our 20 categories there. Well, actually, if I look at the 20 categories and we go show all, I think actually, do you know what? For what I need, I don't need all of those categories. 8 categories, actually, that would be good for what I want to produce here. So we'll change that to 8 categories and then we click continue. And then we'll see we've got 330 is returned out of the 331. So we've improved our search there. And then we can then review what we've got. We can then just go and get the data. So about here, this is about the protecting personal data. We've then got our links to our census dictionary. We've then got a link that you can embed into documents. We can copy this link, take it away, come back and use it later. And it will bring you back to this page here. It then asks for which file format we want to download this into. Now, if the file format exceeds 1 million rows, then the Excel spreadsheet won't be available. So that's the limitations of that particular bit of software, but it's available for this one. So we're going to choose the XLSX file, download this. It's all working okay at the moment. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Oh, and it's just opened up on another page over here. So I'll just move it over. And here it is. So there we go. We've moved it over. So we can see we've got our local authority code with the label. We then got our age category code, and then again the label as well. Our ethnic group category code, the label with that, and again with general health, the code and the label. And then this is the observation that we've got there. So we've then got on the second tab, we've then got our metadata. So it gives our variable names and our variable descriptions as well. It also gives our customer contact center as well if we've got any queries on that as well. So that's the data set. And as I say, we've got our link here. So if we just copy our link, we open up another tab and paste that into there, we can see then that just takes us back to exactly the same. So we can then save it and use it for later, or we can then pass that on to a colleague and then they can go and see the same data that you're getting. Now, if we want to then think, okay, right, that's really great. Well, actually, maybe we just want to look at general health and age. So again, we just click back into add and remove variables and then just deselect the ethnic group. And then we've just got age and general health. click on continue. Again, so we see these are our categories. That's great. And then we can just go ahead, get the data again. Again, we can select a XLS file. And there you go. There's our local authority by age and general health. So that's the a quick run through on the demo, but I would please encourage you to go on and have a little play for yourself. So moving on from that, then we're then looking at the products that we're making available bilingually. So remember back in our user research, it was saying about we want a single source of the truth for that, and bilingual products made available to us. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the products that we've made available were the statistical bulletins, and this was working in partnership with Welsh Government to make sure that PDFs were available on the ONS website and HTML versions were available on the Welsh website that really focused on the Welsh information within the statistical bulletins as well. We then had our Welsh language data sets. So we produced that on the ONS website. We made all this available bilingually as well. We've got our supporting information that we mentioned earlier, and our quality and methodology information, which again is on the ONS website, which is available completely bilingually, which goes in to talk about things like our statistical disclosure control, things like perturbation. It gives and why maybe we shouldn't look at aggregating lower level geographies to create higher totals rather than selecting one of those higher totals, because what we're doing by aggregating lower level geographies, we're increasing the perturbation risk. So all the lower levels have been perturbated, so by adding those up we get a divergence. So if you want a higher level geography, just go in and select a higher level geography. Now also, then we've got our social media posts, which are made available bilingually, because we want to things, particularly like the census maps and the interactive products, we want to reach as many people as we possibly can as well. And then to help our technical users and our expert users, we've translated all the metadata as well. So once we've created a data set, we can then use the census data dictionary, which is completely bilingual, to get those variable descriptions, to get those labelings out of the metadata as well. So that's it for me. I think we're probably going to go for questions at the after Ben's. So I'll probably just hand over to Ben at this point.
We will take a very short comfort break, Gerald, if that's okay. And then we'll come back
Sure.
to Ben. Ben's going to sort out his presentation. But fascinating, thank you. And I think your mission of providing more data quicker for people and organisations to make informed decisions, you know, the tools that are available. I almost see it like social media. You start and you go down a rabbit hole, and an hour later you're still there. Not meaning to be. And I think, you know, it's definitely a tool that we should all go in and have an explore about with. You know, when I was thinking about this, how could somebody like CDPS use this data? I went on to your census stories on the website, and that gives a really good flavour of how organisations are using the data. So it's organisations such as Data Gymru, such as Go Baith Gymru, and Ururi National Park are on there as well as examples. So yeah, I would definitely recommend people go on and have a little look at the stories of how organisations are using it.
Definitely, you know, one of the big stories that have come out of Census is our ageing population. Me being in, apparently I'm in Gen X, not 100% sure what that means, but I'm growing, and then it's not being backfilled by Gen alphanumeric, whatever it is. And so we're seeing an aging population, and then we need to draw out your own analysis and your own decisions on what that actually means for the services that you're providing as well. So
Definitely. Gen X, hopefully that's one of your definitions in your census dictionary as well. Okay, lovely. We'll take a short 5-minute break and give Ben an opportunity to get his presentation ready. Comfort break. See you back here at 10:07 to be precise. Jacob Barr, thank you.
Yeah.